illallah. Fahami Rasulillahi Ra. Things are looking up. Spring is just around the corner. I'm ready.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Priest Manat, Khufu, and Fort Durkee. My brother. Yes. Things are happening fast. Today's lecture I entitled Redemption. Redemption. It would seem that things aren't happening fast enough, but in reality they are picking up speed. So it would behoove all of us to get in step, get in time with the times. We must keep our eyes and our ears, and at the proper time our mouths open for all the things that come our way and for all things that we make come our way. So be aware. Be aware. Listen, everyone, and listen carefully. All of you who would know and understand truth. Fahami is understanding. And it is also the name of the new Hamite, the new Kemite, so-called Negro culture, founded on the background of our ancestor worship. And please listen to what's being said. Ancestor worship. It is how we give due reverence to our noble ancestors, ancient and divine, whose wisdom graced the lands of Egypt, Ethiopia, Chaldea, Arabia, Canaan, and the entire torrid zone, the torrid belt of the mystic name of Ethiopia.
I'm dead.
Listen. Fahami is the spiritual essence of the black race, whose existence is immortalized by their noble words and deeds throughout eternity. Our existence is verified by our words, by our noble words, and by our noble deeds throughout eternity.
I'm dead.
We were here in the beginning, and we'll be here in the end. No one knows exactly what shape we'll be in, but we will be here. The shape that the black race is in today is mainly due to their own making. So the shape you're in, or the condition that you're in, is mainly up to you. today's time, the condition of our race, of our people, of our nation, one would say is not very well. But we are still here. And we are still the spiritual essence of this. Man was created in the image of the universe, in the image of God, the great man above. This spirit, Fahami, is the fashioner, the Lord of the world. We as Fahamis are the Lord of the world, not just the earth, but the worlds, all of the worlds throughout all of the universes and solar systems. We are the lords of that. Believe it. The world of thought is from the cosmic mind that keeps the stars, the moon, and the sun in motion. It is the ethereal that keeps them, meaning the planets, from colliding into each other. They circle around the sun. The planets circle around the sun in perfect harmony. As the sun and moon, or as the moon circles around our sun in perfect harmony and creates an eclipse at certain times and is guided by the brain of creation, or the cosmic mind. Oh, my beloved sons and daughters of Ethiopia, time, listen carefully, time is the measuring of the distance of history between the seed. Time is the measuring of the distance of history between the seed, which is the sun, and its fruit. The gods and goddesses, you all. Between the sperm, which represents the sun, and the birth of its product, which is you. Between the creative impulse, which is the brain of creation, and the universe. The brain of creation, or the creative impulse, created and creates the universe. Genesis is time. We situate the cosmic and terrestrial cycles in its phases. And there is concordance, meaning there is agreement. All things are relative in time. As above, so below. Cosmic and terrestrial. Because the law of Genesis is identical for each thing. O Ethiopia, meaning, O black people, you are the crown of creation. The generations of Isis. Duration is relative. Be patient. Be understanding. Be strong. Be steadfast. Duration is relative. You have to dig in for the long haul. We've been here a long time. to promote and prolong yourself. Duration is relative like the diameters of concentric circles, cycle within cycles. The cycles of nature, if you study properly and regularly, you know there are cycles in the astrological field. It's around 20-something thousand years for each cycle, going counterclockwise. We're moving out of what they call the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. And we're moving counterclockwise. And as we move into the age of Aquarius, another 20-some thousand years is coming upon us. So be aware. Duration is relative like the diameters of concentric circles, meaning unending. Around and around we go. Cycle within cycle. Thus, time in itself has no magnitude. Thus, for we are eternal. Gods and goddesses. The Alpha and the Omega. Perpetual motion, turning continually, turning and returning. There is only a difference of nature, which situates within the kingdoms. Nature situates itself within the kingdoms, the animal kingdom, the vegetable kingdom, and the mineral kingdom. That is a difference of specification or specifics. Hear this. The zones of our earth are 7, with 7 temperaments, meaning different mindsets of people, of nations, from the hottest to the coldest. Different mindsets, people, nations thinking differently. Thinking differently. We must therefore use different methods of thinking. One way of thinking will not accomplish what we have to do in this world. We have to think differently, and you think differently, you should think differently for different situations. And refuse to believe that one method alone can suffice. Simply by changing the vocabulary to clarify problems so diverse in nature. It is only by having a lot of ideas and questions that you arrive at good thoughts. The Fahami teaches us you don't think the same way about everything. People in Russia think differently than people over here. People in the torrid zone think differently than people in the North Pole. It's just a fact of nature. Your thinking processes will be enriched and will be inclined to new knowledge when you think about different things and think about different things in different ways. What is history? History consists of knowledge, religion, and a knowledge of the way a nation lives and what they accomplished. Religion also, history also consists of language. Salute Kim, whose name in men and Amen the mighty. Ra-Aman, or Rahman, is Amun-Ra of Is-El-On. Ori, the seer with his golden flame and golden sword to stab the demon darkness. He is the comb on bow, our Father. The name of Kim, in whom strength and vigor and love and joy doth vibrate and abound. He is the light of lights, all powerful, yet serene. He is the Amun, a witness to the majesty of creation. And Kim is Ham. Fahamira Rasul. Islam, the name of the Ethiopian religion and culture. The word Islam was known to Ethiopia 40,000 years before the Prophet Muhammad, on whom be peace, which makes the word Islam over 34,000 years older than that of Adam. The word is derived from the names of three ancient Ethiopian gods, Isis, Ilocrates, and Amun. Asar is the first man to inhabit what we now call Egypt. He came from Egypt, he came to Egypt, Ethiopia. He taught the Ethiopians the art of science, religion, agriculture, and everything pertaining to life. He also wrote the first funeral ritual. Asar, or Hasiri, was crucified by his brother Set. Isis, or Hesis, an Ethiopian goddess, restored his body together again. And it was Asar who preached, I am the resurrection and the life. That is the origin of your 12 months in a year, in the year. Winter, spring, summer, fall, and then winter again to start the cycle over again. Osiris is the Lord of the seasons. He is the Lord of the seasons. So this is the origin of the 12 months in the year. The goddess Isis is worshipped in English as the Virgin Mary. You must understand, all religions are but the history of the people that it was carried to. Bear in mind that all religions are but the worship of God coupled with the worship of someone's ancestor. We need a revival of the ancient Islam made new and modern, which still contains in itself a full measure of Ethiopianism, a love of our ancestors, hence love between ourselves. Ethiopia is the only country in Africa that has never been subjugated nor settled by any other race. This accounts for Ethiopia standing as the lone independent kingdom, except Liberia, of Africa today. The territories on all sides of her has long since been appropriated by other people. Yet Ethiopia has never been conquered since the days of the distant pharaohs. Ancient Rome tried to conquer Ethiopia. Its mighty legions failed. Then Italy tried again in 1896 and failed ignominiously. The other reason why Italy, or for that matter, any other power, any other foreign power, could not succeed in defeating Ethiopia is the fact already stated that the method, and the key word here is method, that the method of force will no longer use, and that's force by violence. The method used by force of violence will no longer prevail in the face of the counterclaims of right. It is a method that has succeeded in the past, the method of violence. Ancient Rome imposed its peace, what they call peace, upon the world for 400 years by the might of its armies. Same way they kind of doing today. But the path of progress is, he said, the path of progress is from animal to man. Then from man, so-called, to war, and then to God, and then to God. This is saying that it goes from the physical, then from the physical it goes to the intellectual, and from the intellectual it goes to the spiritual. And this is the path of Fahmy. You started out as an animal, and the highest form of animal is man, and man started making war, but he became an intellectual and started getting understanding, and then he went to war, but he got smart, got better smart, and went to God. You start getting understanding. When you get understanding, you start to know God. And when you start to know God, you know war won't work. And the war, and to know God is the spiritual. So you go from the physical to the intellectual to the spiritual. A higher law has superseded a lesser one in human evolution. The stars, the planets, in their courses are contrary today to the rule by might. The people today, the ones with the power, the ones with the armaments, the ones with the guns and the bombs, they don't care nothing about the planets or what the planets is doing. For the most part, they don't care. They don't care. All they know is what they got in their hands. If they can blow you up with it or control you with it, they do. They don't care what spot or position the planets above or in. All they want to do is control. Is control. Might makes right. But there was another factor militating. Said militating. But there was another factor militating against the success of Italian armies over the Ethiopian armies in Ethiopia that is far too important to be ignored in this immediate consideration. And that is the psychic factor. The psychic factor and nature are generally unrecognized. This factor is nevertheless a powerful force for good or for evil. The Ethiopians are in possession of magical powers, which they have carried over from the ancient Lemurian days. For in the interior of the land of Ethiopia are certain priests who work with the finer forces of nature against the enemy. The only protection man has against such invisible evil influences is to be armored in the spirit of love and fellowship. This is the only thing that will work. Obviously, this is not the spirit which is used by armies when they go to war and fight, and it is therefore susceptible to the destructive astral influences that are thus continually caving in upon thee. Just look at your world today and think about it. All this war and fighting that the certain evil powers that we are using to control other people and nations in the world today. But everywhere you look, there are floods, hurricanes, earthquakes, so-called natural disasters that are increasing in number. The celestial is rebelling against the things that are happening on, or evil things that are happening on the terrestrial level. Things are happening, negative things, and nature is rebelling. These evil forces are far more powerful and destructive than the average man imagines, and prove to be a tremendous factor in the ultimate defeat of the invaders. All of us know the story, where, what was the name? The big storm came up in the desert and covered the enemy, yes. Yes. Not a man lives to tell the story of how the Most High had fought in the favor of Ethiopia that day. No one. Since the ancient Islamic culture and civilization fell at the hands of the sons of God, marrying the daughters of men, and the romancers, meaning the storytellers, meaning the liars, about the wonderful and beautiful land of Ham. They start telling lies in their stories, start telling lies about us in their histories. When they start telling stories of the histories of the land of Ham, they weren't truthful. They started misleading the people into forgetting the names of their own gods, who were their benefactors. Then came the rovers of the desert, the Hyksos, and the sheep herders invasion, the Hebrews and the Jews, and the covetous eyes of those Bedouin Arabs. The doctrines of Isis, El, and Amun faded out of the people's conscience. And this is where ancient Islam was veiled, or hidden from the rest of the world, and most important, hidden from our people.
Yeah.
Now, our kinsman Ra, who is the God of time, has on his return to earth, under the name of Paul Nathaniel Johnson, says, I am the vicar of Ra, and do declare as a fact to be the successor and vice regent of the entire Hamite pantheon. And because of this, Fahami is the Holy Spirit of Ra the glorified, again manifest in the image of man.
Yeah.
The second coming of Christ, or Ra, has come to pass.
Alhamdulillah.
Kubel Ham, the father of Cush, and Mizraim, and Futa, and Canaan, all of which are now combined into one name, Fahami. Their holiness, power, and strength remain. And he says, I, who am Ra, have declared them, have cleared them of false charges. Ra, the god of time. Amun-Ra, the god of truth, under the name Fahami, is here again to give back to the Hamite race, the Jaizi, sons and daughters of Allah, their culture, their ethics, their arts, their science, and their civilization. We give it back to them, such as of now a dead one. They look upon our religion as dead today. But we are here to revive it. We are here to redeem it. We are here to bring it back today and tomorrow and forevermore. We will revamp ourselves up from our pre-Negro status or pre-slavery status. We will achieve a unity of purpose. Ancient Islam unveiled to the sons and daughters of the Most High Lillahi Ra. We will resurrect those unsung heroes from the dead. We will be steady in our direction. We will be determined and unchanging and become real in the name of Amun-Ra.
Yeah.
Listen and listen carefully. We do not crave to be called Muslims, Jews, Christians, or Mohammedans, for we are all of them already. And our shrine and our Qibla is wherever we wish to turn. We are the true shriners, says Fahami, the understander. Salam.
Salam.